Practice of Civil Disobedience. Reformation Strategies of Muhammad Ali. Reform has always come from defiance and opposition to traditional views. The use of civil disobedience has been used throughout history and is the most effective way for reformation. This strategy frequently occurs in American history. For example, in 1773, the American colonists used civil disobedience as a way to lead protests against British taxes through their use of non-importation, non-exportation, and non-consumption. Henry David Thoreau employed this strategy when he was told he had to pay a poll tax, which he refused to pay because the government, which demanded the tax, also supported slavery. In 1955, Rosa Parks utilized civil disobedience when she refused to give her seat to a white man. Martin Luther King Jr. applied this strategy on various occasions, one major instance being the March on Washington, in which he delivered the famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Muhammad Ali, like many great activists, used the principle of civil disobedience to lead the way for many reforms that led to changes in societal views, and despite facing many adversities, managed to make a lasting legacy in the process. Muhammad Ali's story began in 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky. He was born under the name of Cassius Clay. Born in a very traditional southern state, Cassius experienced firsthand the racism and segregation that was occurring during that time. One pivotal point in his life was when, at the age of 12, his bike was stolen. This upset Cassius very much, and this event is often credited with giving him the desire to learn to fight. In anger after the incident, he blurted to Martin, police officer, that he was going to find and beat up whoever stole his bike. Martin laughed and responded with, "Well, you better learn to fight before you start challenging people." Clay soon became involved with the sport of boxing and showed early signs of interest and skill. He narrowly won his first fight as an amateur in 1954. This fight ignited his early passion and success and was the beginning of the career of the arguably greatest athlete in the history of the sport. 2 years later, Clay went on to win the 1956 Golden Gloves tournament in the novice heavyweight division, in which he won. In 1959, he won the National Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions and Amateur Athletic Union's national title for the heavyweight championship. After his many successful fights, he qualified to be on the 1960 United States Olympic team and was a perfect opportunity for the world to realize his potential as being the world's greatest boxer. At the Olympics, he defeated the Polish representative and claimed the gold medal. After his return home from the Olympics, his accomplishments were unacknowledged and the effects of racism took their toll on him. A noteworthy incident was when a waitress refused service to Clay, claiming that she would only serve food to white people. After refusal and argument, Clay left the restaurant and was soon ganged up on. He single-handedly fought off this white gang. Enraged by the overwhelming presence of racism, Clay threw his recently awarded Olympic gold medal into the Ohio River. Clay's later motivation for reformation through the use of civil disobedience. Although not entirely recognized for his deeds, his accomplishments and accolades would be instrumental in helping people look up to him as a leader. If he did not have these accomplishments and accolades, he would not have had the same public popularity and support, and without this, he would not have been able to rally and lead people into reform to solve the issues in the government that were taking place. Clay was recognized by some for his performance in the Olympics, and later that year, he decided to turn professional with the help and sponsorship of Louisville's sponsoring group. This sponsorship aided Clay in working all the way up to the heavyweight championship. This championship fight against Sonny Liston in 1964 would prove to be a monumental occasion. This fight introduced many people to Clay and helped increase his public popularity. Clay would go on to beat Liston for the heavyweight championship title. Clay established himself as a prominent boxer early in his life. This success made him widely known and made him a public figure. This public persona made everything he did come to the public attention. This public attention would be essential to Clay's ability to lead. Because of this, people would look up to him and would listen to what he said. After this victory, he declared that he was converting to the Nation of Islam and that he was changing his name to Muhammad Ali because Cassius Clay was a slave name given to his family from a white man. This new name, given by his mentor Elijah Muhammad, as well as his conversion, sparked public attention and would foreshadow future controversy. Although Ali was a first-class fighter, his biggest fight had yet to be fought. In 1967, Ali became eligible for the draft. Ali applied for a conscientious, objector application based on the principle that it was against his religion to fight in the Vietnam War. During the time of the war, recruits were heavily needed, and shortages of enlistments forced requirements for reading and writing to be lowered, and Ali became eligible. Ali, uneasy now that he could be drafted, called upon his lawyer to send a letter requesting deferment to opt him out of enlisting. Despite his attempts to avoid going into service, his request was denied, and he was told that he had to serve militarily or serve time as a criminal. During his induction ceremony in Texas, his name was called 2 times, and each time he refused to stand. The ruling official warned him that if he did not stand, that the resulting penalty would be a fine of $10,000 and up to 5 years in prison. Ali proceeded to refuse. This disobedient act made his view on the war public. In addition to religious reasons, he felt that the U.S. should not be at war with Vietnam. Ali reflected many citizens' sentiments about the war, and his refusal to be enlisted increased the awareness that people did not wish to be at war. However, as promised, he was jailed in 1967 for 5 years along with a $10,000 fine, which he eventually paid off. During the 5 years, he never went to jail but spent his time trying to appeal the ruling. As this was going on, Ali was banned from boxing for 3 years. Simultaneously, his heavyweight titles were stripped from his young yet unfinished career. This was devastating in that it occurred during the peak of his career. His fourth appeal in 1971 was the climax of this long battle. Ali was given the opportunity to express his reasons for wishing to be exempted from the war. He stated that under the Constitution, he was allowed to express freedom of religion and press. Because his religion found the war to be wrong and unjust, Ali concluded that since his religion did not sanction this war, he did not need to serve. He later made the famous remark, "I ain't got no quarrel with those Viet Cong." Many citizens sympathized with this belief and mirrored the idea that the U.S. did not have a quality reason to be at war with the Vietnamese. Because of his public popularity, his ideas and reasons for refusing service became well known. This news rallied many others to speak out against the war in hopes of ending it. This active leadership was extremely courageous. Ali, because of his public popularity, could have easily been called to serve where no actual fighting would have occurred. However, because he felt something to be morally unjust, he made the choice to speak out for what he believed in and was ready to receive the consequences as an effect. As more and more people began to speak out against the war, the government realized the issues with the war and also the issues with Ali's case. Ali eventually won the hardest fight of his life. Ali had defeated the Supreme Court and his case was overturned, but at a hefty cost. The duration of the case had taken 3 years of his boxing prime. Yet, Ali was determined to return to the ring. On October 30th, 1974, in Kinshasa, Zaire, Ali fought George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jumble and regained the heavyweight title. This signified his return of being the champion of the world. This win stressed the idea that after all the trials he had been through, Ali was still the champ. However, years of fighting in and out of the ring began to exhaust Ali. On June 27, 1979, Ali retired from professional boxing. However, Ali could not stay away. 1 year after his retirement, he had the urge to box once again, and he came out of retirement. His first fight back was against Larry Holmes. Unsurprisingly, Ali came out on top. Another year later, he decided to fight Trevor Berbick. This fight did not go Ali's way and ended in Ali's losing. After this fight, he took it as a sign to be finished, and he permanently retired from boxing. Even though Ali was finished boxing, he continues to be considered the greatest of all time. Although his boxing career was finished, his career as a humanitarian and philanthropist was not. Being a philanthropist at heart, he continued his efforts to improve people's lives by going on visits to foreign countries to help those in need. Some significant visits included his negotiations with Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein to free American hostages. Ali's negotiations with Hussein saved the lives of 15 American hostages. These people were captured as an insurance for Hussein's life in case an attack was implemented against Hussein. Not only were their lives in danger, but also anybody who protected Americans in Baghdad. Ali's negotiations were able to save many lives and is a testimony to his dedication to humanitarianism and peace. He also visited Afghanistan in 2002 as a United Nations Messenger of Peace. Unfortunately, Ali was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 1984, and as his life progressed, his health rapidly deteriorated. In 2005, the Muhammad Ali Center was created as a cultural center to focus on the peace and accomplishments of Ali as a result of his leadership. It was also to serve as a lasting legacy for future generations. One of these main legacies that he intended to leave was to convey that it is the responsibility of the people as a whole to stand up for their rights. It was founded on Ali's 6 core principles that he lived by: confidence, conviction, dedication, giving, respect, and spirituality. The center revolves around these leadership ideals to share his legacy with future generations. Even with an incredible boxing career, he's known more worldwide for his humanitarianism and peace efforts.